Hi everyone, this is Krista Moore with the Krista Moore Show. I just want to welcome you all here today and just kind of say happy Valentine's Day in advance. So I have a special guest with me today. Her name is Lindsay Mirando, and she is a marketing expert and has been in business marketing for the past 15 years. So just wanted to make sure that I gave her a proper introduction, but I'm going to allow her to introduce herself. So Lindsay, are you there for us today?
I'm here. Thank you so much.
Hi, welcome. Why
Thank you.
don't you give us a little bit of background on yourself? When we met, I was really impressed with your experience and thought you'd be a great expert for today's topic.
Yeah, so I have been in marketing around 15 years. I actually originally started in marketing in 2002. My first job was collecting email addresses on a clipboard at a local bar and restaurant for a Monday Night Football raffle. So thank goodness technology has come quite far since then. But since that time, I've worked in all style of businesses from high-level enterprise companies to small mom and pop shops in marketing. I've written my own book. I've had my own coaching business that I took from 0 to 6 figures in a little under 8 months. And most recently, 2 years back, I became the director of marketing for Hellobar. So I love to come on shows like this so I can share more about my background and use all the experiences I've had to share with you.
Yeah, that's great. And that's exactly what I'm going to try and pull from you today. We're all here to learn more about email marketing. And in my mind, I feel like email marketing is starting to die because of social marketing. What is your opinion on that? And do you have any thoughts as far as kind of what the future of email marketing is?
Yeah, it's such a great question, right? So many people say this to us that email marketing is dead. And here's what I tell people. Social media marketing is great. It's very valuable, especially in today's marketplace, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. And one of the things about social media marketing is you cannot control things, right? Algorithms and what Facebook decides is going to be present on someone's newsfeed are in play today. So email marketing is still one of the top ways to get a hold of somebody again. And it's a assured way, right? You know that if you have an email address, you can send them an email versus if you have their social media handle, you're not sure if something's going to end up in their newsfeed. So a lot of reports have come out that say email marketing is still the number 1 way that consumers buy. And in fact, they are far more likely to buy from email than social media. So I say, do both.
Mhm. Yeah, so when you say do both, I would imagine that there's certain things from a marketing perspective that you would want to do socially opposed to those types of marketing activities that you would do through email. Can you maybe share with us your thoughts on the differences?
Yeah, it's a great question. So for social media marketing, I always look at your customer journey and how it all plays. So for social, I think it's a great place to put content out there like videos, blogs. Make sure when you're putting content out there in your social media world that it's content that's valuable, right? Something that's actually answering questions or challenges that your community is facing. Don't just put something out there to put it out there. So that's what I would really think about for your social media content. For your email content, one, it's also a great way to put valuable content like videos and posts and stuff like that. It's also a great place to be able to introduce new products that you may have. Maybe you have some coaching spots available and being able to introduce that. But what I always say is your social media content should always have a call to action to get on your email list. And then in your email list, make sure that you're making it fun and different for people so that they feel like they're getting a unique content on there. So for example, we have a local boutique in San Diego where you can only get a discount code if you're on our email list. She says, hey, this is special for my email list. Come on in today. You can get a discount, right? So make it fun and different for your email list, but make sure that they all kind of fit together so that someone's on your social, they get on your email list, and they're constantly getting great content from you that's going to help them with their problems.
With the email list, I know that I get emails that I don't want. Maybe, I got on the email list without really requesting it, or they don't have my permission. And I find myself unsubscribing, or I'm afraid to click on a link because I don't know if it's spam. What are your thoughts on that for businesses that want to build a database, but they want it to be, people that really want to get their messages?
Yeah, it's such a great question, right? So yeah, you never want to put someone on your email list that hasn't consented to be there. But what I think is that if you provide good, valuable content that's getting people results in their business or life, whatever it may be, they're going to want to stay on your email list. So here's a great example. Marie Forleo is a pretty big figure in the digital marketing industry. She has only one email that goes out a week. That's her Marie TV show. And people look forward to it because it provides value and it provides results and solutions, right? So think about stuff like that. What can you actually, like, you've got to let people know what to expect on your email list, but then you've got to look at what are they seeking? What solutions are they looking for? What are they typing into Google, right? That's a problem that they currently have. And if you can provide out value to your email list with those solutions, you're going to see a lot of people opening your emails, getting excited, looking forward to stuff. Maybe it's your weekly podcast. Maybe it's a weekly show like Krista's show, right? Really making it valuable for them. You're going to have no problem with somebody opening your email. So just make sure that they, one, consent, but two, give them some sort of solutions to their problem and some take action items that they can start using in their business life, whatever it may be.
Yeah, let's kind of break that down a little bit. I'd like to learn more about ways to build the database with content that is meaningful and people want. But before that, I want to talk about the quality of the database. Because I used to think that the more, the more names I have, the better. And that was more about, like you've said, the quantity rather than the quality. What recommendations would you have for myself as well as others to make sure that our database is quality? And how can we kind of clean that up?
Yeah, great question. So I have a really good example, actually. So when I had a business coaching business about 6 years ago, I thought, well, everybody's trying to build an online course. So I knew that if I created a free offer that captured people's email address, we call them free offers and lead magnets, about courses, that I'd get people's attention, right? And they get on my email list. So here's what happened. We run a bunch of paid ads. We grew our list a ton because everyone wanted to build an online course. But here's the problem. We weren't actually teaching how to build online courses. We were teaching how to create marketing plans. And in fact, a lot of people, we were telling them not to create online courses because they needed to actually try their program out first with one-on-one clients. So there's a disconnect there, right? That the offer was very different than the end game that I wanted them, or the end path that I wanted them to go down. So I think the way that you avoid, one, quality, but two, really mapping out your ideal client, thinking about who you're trying to serve and what they're seeking and what they're looking for, and then give them an offer that actually helps them with what they're seeking and looking for, and that makes sense. But ultimately, you want them to lead down the path that you want them to go down. So I always tell people, ask yourself, what do people need to do or see before they're going to buy from me? So thinking about what's your ultimate goal, if it's to sell your course or your coaching program, and what do they need to do or see before they're actually going to buy that? Then make that your free offer. And that way someone's going down a customer journey path that actually makes sense. And you're not saying, oh, hey, here's how to create an online course. Guess what? We're actually not going to teach you how to create an online course. We're going to teach you about coaching. So that's what I would think about, really creating a custom offer for your audience that really fits your ideal client's needs and what they're looking for, and make sure it makes sense for the path you want them to go down.
What you just described to me made me feel like you were just trying to sell me something, right? And what we're trying to avoid is to be salesy in our marketing messages. And I personally, and many people on the line, don't want to be perceived as an internet marketer. So what advice would you give us to kind of get that non-salesy tone and just make it feel more genuine?
Yeah, it's a question that I struggled with when I had a business, always struggle with as, doing marketing. And so what I would say is, this is what I always tell people. Let's say that, you were talking to someone at a networking event and they were saying, I'm having trouble sleeping. I have an awful night's sleep. In your mind, you're thinking, oh my gosh, like I have this meditation pack that helps with sleeping, or I have this new way of diet and lifestyle that helps with sleeping. And then you're too nervous because you don't want to come off salesy, so you don't say anything to them. I want you to think about this in the sense of, you're doing a disservice to your community, to people you're talking to, if you have a solution to their problems and you're not offering it. So if you actually are in front of your ideal client's face and or online and saying, hey, here's my new, content guide, how to create content for 30 days in 10 minutes or less, and they're like, oh my gosh, I struggle with creating content all the time, it's not going to feel salesy to them, right? Because you are providing a solution to the problem that they currently have. So as long as you know your ideal client and you know what they're seeking and looking for and providing that to them, no one's ever going to think you're salesy. They're actually going to thank you because of the fact that you actually are giving them results. You're giving them solutions to what they're challenged with.
Yeah, and also in sales, when we're referring to kind of a sales process, we talk a lot about there needs to be a number of different touches, so to speak, up front before you actually ask them for their credit card and build that trust and build that rapport. I would imagine that's what you're referring to with some of the marketing messages in advance of actually trying to get a sale.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. You've got to build that relationship. Again, it's just like walking into a store, right? You don't want someone to say, buy for me right now. Ask questions, get to know your ideal clients, and then from there you can present.
Before you ask, yeah. Tell me what your recommendations are for taking an old database and cleaning that database up. What do you recommend that organizations do to just make sure that everybody's got permission, has given you permission, and that your open rates increase and people are getting the emails because they want to get them?
Yeah, such a great question. So I used to do this a ton. We'd call it spring cleaning. And after the new year, we would always clean up our database. So what we did, we used a software called Infusionsoft, but there's most major softwares should allow you to be able to pull a report to see who hasn't been engaging in your emails or who hasn't been opening your emails. So for us, we said if someone hasn't engaged in 6 months or more, so they haven't opened an email, they haven't done anything, we would send them an email series, and it'd be 3 emails. The first would have a subject line like, are we still friends, or do you still want to hear from me? And it would just be super honest. Hey, we're in the process of cleaning out our database. I noticed you haven't opened emails in a while. Are you still interested in being a part of our list? No problem if you're not. I just need to know, click this button to stay on our list. Otherwise, we're going to delete you in a week. And then we'd usually give them a free gift. Say, thanks for being a loyal customer, whether you stay or not. Here's a free PDF or downloadable. And then we do one reminder email and then one final, hey, are you in or you out? And then we delete people. We would literally, and I used it to delete thousands of people off the list. And it works for a few reasons. One, your bill goes down, right? Because your user count is down. 2, you actually get accurate numbers on how many people are opening your emails and how many people are not. And 3, you can assure that your list actually wants to hear from you. Because especially if you're going to be doing surveys or asking your community what they're looking for, if people aren't very interested or they're not your right ideal target, then you're not going to get the right answer. So I always suggest taking a look at your database and just kind of doing a cleanup and trying to find in your email marketing software something that could be a similar report.
Great. One thing I wanted to ask you, I just thought of, is a lot of times now marketing is starting to move to the cell phone, where you get these phone calls or you're getting texts that are unwelcome. And I'm wondering if there is some legitimacy behind text marketing. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I used to use text marketing back in a restaurant chain I worked for in like 2005, 6. But we had a lot of trouble then because of like cell phone providers, and it was so, different then. So I think it can work. But again, it has to be that you got permission. I get a ton of texts that I did not give permission for my number. And 2, that it actually gives people some value. So where I see it working best is if you're speaking at an event, or maybe we're speaking here, and you tell people, hey, grab your cell phone and text this code, you'll get a part of my email list, and you'll be able to be a part of my community. Occasionally I'll send you text messages about, some different offers and things that I have going on. I think it's going to work better for people that, have a mobile friendly website, that maybe have, maybe more of an e-commerce store, because someone might shop from their phone, right? 50 to 60% of people are shopping from their phone. That's where I would say it would work better. Maybe not as much in the coaching industry, but it totally could work too. I have a few spots available in X, Y, and Z program. I just wanted to check in if you wanted to get a call with me and if you're interested. But again, first and foremost, make sure you get people's permission. Then from there, if they don't want to be a part of it, make sure it's very clear how they can opt out of it. You always want to be careful with that because your user's information is very valuable.
And you're the director of marketing for Hellobar. I wanted to make sure that you talked a little bit about Hellobar and what they do and why you're kind of passionate about them.
Yeah, for sure. So Hellobar is what many people call pop-up software, but we're so much more than that. We've got basically what it is a software that you can quickly install onto your website, and then from there you can create different kinds of pop-ups, from top bars that say enter your email address in here to get our free guide, to modals that can sit in the center of your website, to a page takeover that takes over the site, to even little sliders on the right or left hand side. But basically, Hellobar is a tool that helps you collect more email addresses and get more leads. I look at it as kind of the first touch point in your sales funnel, right? A little introduction to your website community to say hello, and take them down the path you want them to go down.
And some people on the line are probably thinking, oh, pop-ups, I hate them. And I think that there are some that can be very annoying. What would you say to anyone that is curious about the whole pop-up world and how that works?
Yeah, we get asked that a ton. And the reality is pop-ups work when done right. So the reason why they get such a bad rap is because they're not being used right oftentimes. One, you may see that you get on a website and it immediately shows. You don't want to do that. You want to give users some time to explore, get to know your brand and website. Two, people just aren't getting offers that they're excited or about. So again, going back to what we said, really thinking about an offer that would help and support your community. They're going to be excited when they get it, right? So I think the reasons why they get bad raps is because they're not timed correctly and you're not giving an exciting and enticing offer. So wrong message, wrong time kind of thing. And that's really Hellobar comes in to support and that kind of stuff.
When I think about email marketing, I'm sure there are some skeptics that are saying, well, gee, it doesn't really matter because what really matters is that we sell something. And at the end of the day, I guess when you're looking at your marketing budget and you're trying to determine how much energy and effort and cost are you going to be putting into marketing, you want to be able to determine kind of the return on that investment. What are your thoughts when it comes to actually selling something through email marketing and just the activity of email marketing?
Yeah, I mean, so many reports are saying it's still the number one way people buy. I think as long as you've cultivated a community that knows you, they can trust you. Like Krista was saying earlier, they've gotten to know you. It's a brilliant way to sell. And it doesn't need to be a, hey, buy this now. It can really be like an introduction, sharing more about the product, what you have. But really using email marketing with direct calls to action to purchase your product is crucial. And it's still how people are buying, and it's still the best way to actually sell your product. So making sure that you're incorporating it into your campaigns, and I would say just have a strategy, right? Make sure that you've laid out your email calendar every single month or quarterly. What content are you going to give, and then what are you going to promote? So we used to do this rhythm where we would do 3 weeks of content and then 1 week of promotion. So we would kind of be on that rhythm, and you don't necessarily have to do that, right? But the reason why we did that is because we provided a ton of value, like free video series, downloadables, things to get people results. And then we said, hey, if you want more X, Y, and Z, here's the program that we've got available. So as long as you have a strategy and as long as you lay it out, no one's going to feel like you're just sitting there trying to sell to them all the time.
Yeah, and what comes to mind when I hear you talking about that is from the sales process, it's not just conversions and getting brand new customers and new business or getting new email addresses, but it's nurturing your existing followers or database or penetrating, selling additional product or services. So would you recommend then that their marketing strategy make sure that they have little pieces of each of those as part of it?
Yeah, 100%. It's actually way more expensive to get a new customer and a new email subscriber than it is to just actually hold on to your current database. So if you can actually just nurture the community that you do have, build relationships with them and continue to give them good content and have them stay with you, you're gonna see a lot better results. And I think we forget to focus on that. We're so focused on getting more that we forget about what about our people who have been loyal fans or people that have been part of our community forever.
Yeah, that's a great point. How do you feel about video in terms of video in email marketing? And is that something that is progressing, or is that something that people find annoying because it pops up and they don't want it? How do you feel about that?
So I think, it depends on your community and your audience and what they like, and then also what you love. So if you hate video and you don't like to go on video, then maybe you should look to something else like writing or audio or something like that. So I think video is great. That's why you're seeing a lot of softwares come out. Like I think there's one called Bonjoro, where you could like snap a quick video for your new community members that join your email list. They can see your face. You can give them a custom message. People are liking that. So the reason why I think video is working very well is because in this day and age where we have so much technology and so many automations, people are missing that personal touch, and video gives that personal touch. So that's why I think it works well. Now, if you're saying, Lindsay, I don't want to get into the video world, then figure out how you can do some personal touches, whether it be with a free audio so they can hear your voice, or maybe like a special blog post for all your new subscribers, or maybe special messages directly for them. Maybe you send them, a quick message on Facebook, whatever it may be. But people just want to get to know you. They want to feel like they're a part of your community, and that's why I think video works really well, and we're seeing it a lot more often.
Yeah, we had a guest about 3 weeks ago from Wistia that talked about email signatures. When you click on the signature at the bottom of the email, it actually pops up a video, and they're introducing themselves personally and professionally. And I thought that was interesting. And I started to receive more of them than I have in the past. So it seems like it's taking off.
Yeah, I love that. That's great.
I'm wondering too, what are some of the rules, like the laws about email marketing? You have to have unsubscribe, right? Isn't that option have to be there?
Yeah, you have to have unsubscribe. You have to have your address at the bottom of the footer. You've got to make sure there's a lot more rules around like how you can send it. So like a lot of email providers wouldn't just let you send it from your Gmail account. You have to actually have like a lindsay@hellobar.com. You also couldn't just take your email list and mass send out to your Gmail account. There are newer regulations for those in the EU around how you can collect email addresses. Some of you may be familiar with GDPR. Basically what that happened and got passed this past year is saying that when you collect email addresses, let's say you're saying, hey, sign up for my free PDF. That person has just signed up for your free PDF. You don't have the right to send them your newsletter or anything else. So Hellobar and a lot of other softwares have become GDPR compliant, where you can create checkboxes that say, yes, I'd like to get your newsletter. Yes, I'd like to get, X, Y, and Z from you, promotional material, everything, so that you're not restricted on what you can send to people. So they're constantly changing spam laws, but just make sure that you work with an email provider that is legitimate and is on top of that, because then you won't have to worry about that stuff. They're going to require all that from you. They're going to make you aware, of the GDPR compliance, just as we do in Hellobar. That's what I think is key. Just make sure you have a provider that actually is known in the marketplace.
Yeah, and we use Infusionsoft, which I think I mentioned to you before, so I know that they know what they're doing and they're compliant. But what you just said about giving people choices, really resonated with me, because that's something that we don't do and we need to, because I wouldn't want someone to unsubscribe because they don't want our newsletter, because then if they do, then they're out. They don't get information about the Krista Moore Show, or vice versa. And to our audience, maybe they do have a newsletter, or they have special promotions. Their client may want the special promotions, but not the newsletter. And I guess what I'm hearing you say is there's ways to control that and still keep people, and more so target what they want.
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of email providers will allow you to segment, right, or tag people,
Yes.
especially Infusionsoft, even MailChimp now. And that allows you to give people more of what they want, which is great, because then hey, these people came to me, let's say from the local San Diego area. So I'm going to share when I've got local San Diego events, but I'm not going to share it to my whole list because they're not in San Diego. So getting more nitty gritty with that allows you to speak to your customers in a way that will resonate with them, because it feels like you know them, because you've started to understand their behavior a bit more.
Yeah, let's talk about open rates for a moment because I'm curious, what is a good open rate and what should some goals be for open rates when it comes to email marketing?
Yeah, a good open rate is around 15 to 20%. If you're above 20%, that's amazing. You'll notice the smaller your list, the higher the open rate, right? Because you're not sending to as many mass people. So that's generally a good open rate. What I would pay more attention to, honestly, is your click-through rate. Because one of the things that's interesting about open rates is, let's say I'm in Outlook and I'm scrolling through my Outlook emails, and something's highlighted as unread, and then I'm just scrolling and it gets read. That counts as an open rate. But if somebody actually clicks the links in your email, that shows that they took action, and that shows you what they're interested in. All email providers should show you click-through rates, and that's what I'd really pay attention to. How many people are clicking through? If you could get a 3 to 5% click-through rate, that's awesome. Sometimes I'm seeing mass emails at just 1 to 2%, which is totally fine too. But if you're at 5% click-through rate and above, you're seeing that people are very interested. So I would actually pay attention to that and see what links they're clicking on. Do more of that because that's showing you that they're very interested in what you've got going on.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, and I'm also thinking too, as you were saying before, if it's the right audience and you have a clean database, your open rates and your click-through rates are going to increase tremendously.
Yes.
So I was just talking with Megan. We're going to make sure we look at the numbers and clean our database and figure out if this stuff really works. So I'll let you know.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah. I'd like to switch gears, but before I go to more about you and your book, because that's unrelated, I think, to marketing, I wanted to see if there was anything else that you thought that our audience could learn from you today, or something maybe we didn't touch upon.
Yeah, I would say, the biggest thing I can tell you is I know when I owned a business, and even being in marketing, it can be overwhelming, right? It can be very, very overwhelming. So my best advice I can give to you is to keep it very simple. Really think about your ultimate goal as a business. Again, what do you want to ultimately sell to people, whether it be a product or your coaching, whatever it may be. And then when you're thinking about email marketing, just think about some sort of offer that can lead people down that path. And it doesn't have to be 5 to 10 offers. It can be one amazing offer that you keep making better and better and better. And that's what I would really suggest. I find that a lot of people get into the shiny object syndrome, and suddenly they create like 10 different free offers to collect email addresses, and they don't know which one to use, and it's very confusing. So I would just start with 1 or 2 and use what you already have. And just make sure it leads down that path to your ultimate goal. Keep it simple and you'll see a huge difference, I promise you, because you'll be able to focus on that.
Well, I want to just add one more thing to what you just said. In addition to that, keeping it simple, I would also recommend to some of the folks in the audience, because I've seen some of their marketing, that it be targeted. So you don't want to be marketing a product or service to someone that already purchases that product or service, because they'll think like, well, they don't even know me. Like, why am I getting this? And I think that can make a difference in how that client or that customer is receiving those messages.
Totally.
Yeah. I'd like to know more about you. And I always often ask, what were you doing when you were 10? And I'm curious, what were you doing, Lindsay, when you were 10 years old, say 4th or 5th grade? And do you think there's any connection to then and now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I was thinking about that. And I think that when I was in the 4th or 5th grade, it's kind of funny. At the time, we were doing projects where we got to build something and like a business. And then we actually got to like create a plan for how we were going to get it out there and actually share the business. So I actually created a restaurant and created like a whole plan about how to market the restaurant. I didn't know that's what I was doing at the time. I didn't even realize it was marketing because I didn't know what marketing was. But it's really funny to think back because I've always been like a project-based person and I really like to start things. And that's really what I've always done in my career is like create it to finish. So
That's
yeah.
great. And for the audience, I did not know her answer till just now. And I love hearing those stories because our whole premise behind your 10-year-old self is really identifying what you were doing when you were around that age and what you loved and I'm hoping that some of that is still in your life today because that's kind of who you are at your core. So it seems like you're still doing that today, especially with Hellobar and helping businesses get creative around, growing their companies.
Definitely.
And then the book that you wrote has an interesting title. It's Just the Beginning, Break Up and Get Up and Walk Away. What's that all about?
Yeah, so I actually, my husband and I, when we first started dating for a year and a half, he broke up with me, and I was so devastated. So I was like, "This is the man I was going to marry. I can't believe it." But I, had this aha moment and realized that, you know what? For years, I've been, letting other people make decisions for me and not standing up for what I want. So I just basically went on an entire year of soul searching. I had a blog called Doing It Wrong since 1982. And when I realized, I just wrote about my breakup and what I was doing to try to feel better, I realized, like, for once in a breakup, I was actually happy, even though I knew that this was the guy I was going to marry. So it was really crazy. So I thought, okay, there's something there, because I'm never the person in a breakup that's happy. So I ended up just taking a lot of the stuff I had written through the blog and actually putting it into a book. And then ironically, before I finished the book, my husband and I reconnected at the end of a race, and we ended up getting back together. So I thought the book's ruined. But I realized all the work I had done over the year really brought us to that moment and forced me, or, really, I felt empowered in that moment to tell him what I wanted. Like, I'm not getting back together with you unless you're going to marry me. Like, I'm in if you're in, but if you're not in, like, no issue. Sure enough, 5 years later, we're married.
That's great. And still married, right?
Celebrate our 5-year wedding anniversary in September.
That's awesome. So I guess that book would be good for what audience?
Anyone that's currently dealing with a breakup, going through even a challenging time in life, whether you're trying to get over someone or just really trying to find yourself and figuring out, like, how do I do what I love? Like, how do I get back to myself? It's great for anyone going through life changes or transformations, I would say.
That's great. Well, good. Congratulations. And actually, I've got my book here. We should do a book swap.
I love it. Yeah.
It's amazing. You send me yours, and I'll be glad to give you some feedback on it.
Amazing. That'd be great.
You.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us for sure. I learned a lot, and I'm sure our audience has. We're going to share a slide that has some contact information for you, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about it and the best way to get in touch with you.
Yeah, for sure. So you can get in touch with me. There's my email address. And for those of you that want to give Hellobar a try on your website, then you could go to the link URL there, which is hellobar.com/promotions. That'll give you a free 30-day trial of our Hellobar growth plan, which is standardly our $29 a month plan. So wanted to give you guys an opportunity to give the software a try in your business.
That's great. Thanks so much, Lindsay. Take care. It's great having you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Well, I want to tell everyone to make sure that you join us on the 20th of February, which is next week. For those of you that are in sales or sales management, you're going to be interested in my guest, Lauren Bailey, who is the co-founder of #Girls Club and also Factor 8. She has been doing inside sales training and setting up companies with an inside sales organization for many, many years. And she's going to be addressing kind of the 5 things that you must know if you're going to go down that path and building an inside sales organization. So you don't want to miss that. And that is the 20th next week. And as you know, the Krista Moore Talk Show is recorded. We are live every Wednesday at 2 o'clock, but it is recorded, and you can listen to past recordings on the past shows page on our website. We care about you, and we care about your success. Until next week, have a great week.